evening everybody, and you're very welcome here to Mullan Village, which is thankfully a nice sunny evening for us here for our Instagram Live. We're really glad that you decided to join us for the launch of our Mullin Ceramics brand. My name is Edel Trainer and I'm one of the directors here at Mullan Lighting, and this evening I'm just going to be here to give you a quick rundown of the proceedings for the night ahead. So first and foremost, we're going to kick off by introducing you to the Mullan Ceramics team and the roles they've played in bringing the brand to you. And we're very excited also to introduce some new designs that have yet to be launched, which will be kind of first sneak peek that anyone has got of them will be here tonight. And even just to look through some of the existing designs that we have brought you over the past little while. And we're very lucky tonight to be joined by some fantastic guest panellists. So we are being joined by Sam McGowan from Action and Cloud, Darren Heaney from Old Victorian U, and by Laura McGee from Deco Dreading. So our panellists are going to be here in a little while. What they're going to do is actually answer some of the kind of probing topics and questions that you want to put to them. So right now, what I'd encourage you all to do is to start actually popping those questions into the Instagram Live, and Alana, who is a part of our marketing team here, is going to be taking note of them. And at the end, when we come to the question and answer segment, she'll be able to give kind of a live question and answer session to them based on the questions and the kind of the matters that you would like to discuss most. Also throughout the evening, we are going to be running a competition where one lucky follower will actually get to win a live ceramic pendant, which is going to be made live by Stephen, our potter, here this evening. So as we move forward a little bit into the evening, you'll see the process that goes into making the pendant, and that exact pendant will be won by one of our followers tonight. So I suppose everybody sit back, relax, enjoy the night, and I'm going to pass you over to Maria, who has been the face of the Mullin brand most recently, and she's going to introduce you to Stephen, our potter.
Hello, thanks Edel. Welcome along to the live tonight. I'm here at the minute with Stephen Kieran, who is the ceramicist here at Mullin Ceramics. So Stephen, would you like to tell us a little bit about your history with pottery and about the light you're going to make tonight?
Well, I started kind of drawing in 2009, and that led me into a fine art course. And after the fine art course, I got really lucky to get a job with Rachel Quinn, a ceramicist, who's very talented. After that, I came back to Monaghan, and I got very lucky again, and I got a job here at Mullin Ceramics, which was amazing. I was overjoyed to get it. And that's my story so far. Yeah.
And then when did you join the Mullin team?
Well, it must be 8 months ago now, I think. Yeah, so 8 months ago we started doing this here, and it started with test tiles and experimental pieces and things like that there, which was a lot of fun. And eventually we got some products out and on the go, and now we're launching.
Very good. And Stephen, what light are you going to be making for one of the followers to win tonight?
I'm going to make a marble pendant, which it's going to be something similar to the shape of this here mould. And yeah, it's going to be nice.
Very good. So as Edel mentioned, we are running a competition for one of you to be able to win the light that Stephen is making. So the competition is to guess the number of tiles on our sample tile wall. So I'm going to bring you into the showroom here and show you the number of tiles, and just comment your answers in the comment section. So these are some of the samples that Stephen was making whenever he was coming up with the designs. And so if you guess the number of tiles on this wall, you have a chance to win the competition. So now I'm going to introduce you to some of our other makers. So this is Mike Trainer, owner of Mullin Ceramics. So Mike, would you like to discuss a little bit about the Mullin brand and what enticed you to introduce ceramics to the line?
Yeah, so yeah, we have Mullin Lighting just across the yard, which is everyone knows. Everyone that is watching this evening knows. The Mullin Ceramics come about. There was an existing pottery studio in this part of the building, and it was Busy Bee Ceramics. It was run by a lady called Brenda McGinn. Brenda was moving to a different premises. We didn't want to see it go, and we decided we'd give it a go here. Start up the ceramics brand, tie it in with the lighting. I got in touch with Stephen, who I knew to be a very talented ceramicist, and we got it up and running, and it's been really good so far.
Yeah, cool. It's going very well so far. And Wendy is our design team lead. And Wendy, would you like to talk us through some of the design process and what inspired your designs?
Okay, as you can see behind, there are a selection of the new Mullin ceramic products, and they're all inspired by Mullan Village itself. So looking specifically at the heritage and the colours and the textures found in the village and the organic materials, so inspired by the bark of the trees and the textures of the old stone buildings. So initially we tried to make some samples replicating the different textures before we put them onto our contemporary shades.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so as Wendy said, you can see a sample of the lights behind us. So I'm going to now get Mike and Wendy to run through a few of these designs, and you're going to get an exclusive sneak peek at some new designs. So yeah, I'm going to let them discuss the designs.
Okay, this is the Para Pendant. It showcases a mix of the organic ceramic black clay finish and a leather strap, which is made from recycled fire hose. So one of the trends that were popping up was the mixing of organic materials in lighting and in the home, and therefore we thought it would look great to just contrast the two materials off each other in this pendant. And this is the Pyrus pendant. It is one of our newest finishes, the new marble that we have created. So this was inspired by, again, the use of organic materials in the home, and specifically looking at the stone and the marble. And Stephen had experimented many times to create our unique marble finish, which I think is really stunning.
My turn. So the first challenge that we looked at was, I suppose we were used to working with brass and clean lines and metalwork and things like that there. When we had a look at ceramics initially, we thought it was a good opportunity to introduce like much more texture into our design. So I produced a piece of bog oak to Stephen, and I said, let's try that. And this is what we come up with. So it's the bog oak wall light. We're trying to imitate the texture of the bog oak. Bog oak was something that I worked with. It's found locally, it's found all over Ireland really. I seen the work of Kieran Higgins, wood turner, from down in Cork. I come across his work one time, and I really liked it, and I loved the texture of bog oak. So that's what we're trying to emulate. And of course Stephen came up with a fantastic job of it, and it looks fantastic. The other product is the Lawson table lamp. Again, I mentioned clean lines and the satin brass shade that we're used to working with. I love the combination of combining the clean lines with the rough textures and the raw sort of finish of the clay that Stephen works with. So I think the combination really works well together.
Cool. Thank you so much for showcasing some of the lights. So now it is time. I'm going to ask our guests to join the live, and while they're doing that, we're going to go back out and check on Stephen and see how he's getting on with making one of your lights. Hey Stephen. How are you getting on?
Not so bad, yeah.
So what are you doing at the minute?
So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm twisting two colours together, and that's basically done by wrapping one colour around the other and then rolling the clay and then twisting it again. So
Yeah,
you can kind of see these here, these patterns starting to appear. And what we do is we stretch them out to get them thinner, and it sort of forms the marble texture or the marble design in the same way that marble might actually be formed under the ground.
Yeah.
Only it takes less time, I guess.
Yeah, that's amazing.
After this process, we're going to roll it out into a flat slab, and we're going to use it
I'll put it on the mold. Oh, very good. So for those of you who missed the competition at the beginning, there's a chance for one of you to win this light that Stephen is making at the moment. So again, the competition is to guess the number of tiles on our sample tile wall in the showroom. So I'll take you back in, and you can see the number of, or guess the number of tiles, I should say. So this is the tile wall here. So if you can guess the number on that wall. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you all?
Good. How are you? Thank
Good,
you.
Great,
Good to see
great.
your
Thank you
faces.
so much for Sorry?
Good to see your faces.
Yeah, and you too. Sorry you can't all be here in person, but this is the way things are going now anyway.
Oh, I know. I think we're all used to it by now, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So again, I just want to let all the followers know that keep the questions coming in the comment section, but we're going to keep them until the end. So Alana's taking note of all the comments that are coming in, and we'll ask them at the end.
Great.
So I'm going to give you all just a brief introduction, just so that our followers get to know, even though I'm sure they know who you all are already. But Susan, you yourself have been an interior designer for over 13 years now. You
right.
share lots of beautiful imagery and little tips, and you're a very good advocate for local Irish businesses. So thank you so much for joining us.
No, my
And then Darren, you yourself, as suggested in your Instagram handle, Old Victoria New, have renovated your old Victorian house, and you give lots of upstyling tips, and you were in that House and Home contestant, and again, thank you so much for joining us.
No
And
problem.
Laura, you yourself, you are a fashion brand designer, and again, share lots of fashion and interior tips and tricks on your Instagram, and again, empower or you support women in business. And again, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
Guys, so each of you have been a big Mullin supporter from the beginning of the ceramics, and you all have a ceramic product of ours in your homes. Would you like to kind of tell us about it, or what might you have and where you would place it in your home? So, Susan, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, you can probably see mine just right behind me here. I have it set up in a little vignette. I really like it, actually. I love that it feels very intrinsic to Ireland. You know, it feels like an intrinsic piece. And I think that when I got the pieces, you know, the little samples as well, I hadn't seen anything like that. And I think it's rare that you come across something like that, you know, really feels new and fresh and interesting, you know, to be able to work with these kind of materials. So it's very exciting for a designer, I guess, to be able to get thinking about how we can use these products in new and interesting ways, and the fact that it's an Irish brand, the fact that it's local to us here and it feels like an intrinsic Irish product is very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I see you have the Bixa there, the Bixa table lamp. So what made you choose the blue colour?
I have a little bit of blue in my home. It's kind of one of my golden threads in my home. So I thought that was going to sit quite nicely in many rooms. And it's the type of piece that you could move around, you know, where if you felt you had a dark corner somewhere, that little ambient light will just light up the space. So I thought it was very adaptable piece to choose. And I just loved the small and minimalist sort of design from it as well.
Yeah, I have to say that I think the Bix is one of my favourite table lamps as well. I think it's a gorgeous piece. And Laura, what light do you have?
Well, I've got the Bixa. Unfortunately, because of the weather, I had to move up to the lightest room in my house because everywhere else is so dull. So we couldn't fit the Bixa, unfortunately, so it's here. So yeah, again, I love it. It's just perfectly formed, really, isn't it? And it's almost like the ceramic has kind of turned the light into a piece of art, which I absolutely love. So it's something a bit different. And I'm a big fan of ceramics. I mean, I'm in my kitchen. I've got like a pink concrete kitchen island. So I'm all about ceramics, and I think it's great kind of adding texture into the home as well. It kind of instantly transforms like any dull space. And yeah, I just love it. It's so beautiful. And funny, whenever I was listening to the designer, he was saying that it was made based in bark. And I was kind of trying to figure out whether it was like volcanic, if it was based on like a volcano or bark. So it's really, yeah, you can see the kind of natural the inspiration that he's taken from it. So yeah, I absolutely love it. I don't know where I'm going to put it, to be honest. It's at the moment it's in in my kind of office / dressing room, but it may move around the house. So we'll see where it ends up.
Yeah, again, very adaptable light. We actually have a couple of videos coming up over the next couple of weeks, and you're going to get to see where Stephen got the inspiration from the bark of the bog oak to like turning it into that design. So that'll be a good one to keep an eye out for. And Darren, then what light have you got?
So I have the Cassia, but I feel like I chose wrong because the girls both have the same lamp, and I'm really jealous now. So But I got this console table recently, and I was looking for like an anchor piece or a statement piece for the sitting room. And when I saw that lamp, I fell in love with it. I love the texture of it, and I love blue. This blue pops up all over my house. I don't wear anything else but blue, really. So I'm naturally drawn to that, and I really like the mix between, you know, the kind of the very sleek and contemporary lampshade, and then there's something that's quite almost historic about the base. You know, it's kind of, you know, it is that kind of back to you know, old kind of style, but in a very contemporary way. So I love it. I absolutely love it. And like the girls, I'll probably move it around, but it's here for the time being.
It's here for now. Yeah, no, I agree. It's a gorgeous lamp, and yeah, you're so right with moving it around, and it's definitely an adaptable light that you could place in a lot of areas. So guys, we have a couple of discussion topics here tonight that we would love to get your opinions on. So I suppose we'll start with those. So the first one is that ceramics are more commonly used in tableware and tile formats. Can you envision interiors with ceramic lighting? So why don't we start off with you, Darren, if you want to get that discussion going.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think ceramic lighting's been around for a long time, but I don't think I've ever seen anything in this type of style. So I think that it's definitely something that people can introduce into their homes now. This is very contemporary, but as I said, it kind of, there is a look back onto kind of history, and it's Irish as well, you know. So I definitely think it's a trend that people will start leaning more towards. People are looking for something different, you know. People want something that will add to their home. I think personally, for a lamp like this as well, it is an investment piece, but it's something that you'll have for a very, very long time. It's something you might even, you know, give to somebody. You know, I think there is a tendency to be very much in relation to like a throwaway culture. Fast fashion is kind of moving towards sustainable. You know, I joke all the time with my partner. I'm going like, what will I leave my nieces and nephews? You know, like an IKEA table. You know, it's like we don't have anything that, you know, we're not making these. Well, you know, a lot of people don't make these investments, and I think this is something that we will definitely, you know, invest in, keep, love, and work your interiors around. So I definitely think there's space for ceramic lighting in the future.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Laura, do you want to share your opinion on the same question?
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. I mean, ceramics have been around for such a long time, and I think when people think of ceramics in the home, they think it's a bit more traditional, a bit more rustic, but nowadays it's so sleek, it can be really minimalist, and it can just completely transform a space. I mean, I'm, like I said, I'm obsessed with any sort of ceramics, whether that's kind of printed, kind of hand painted, anything I'm just kind of drawn to at the moment. So no, I'm obsessed with the light. I don't know what else to say about it apart from it really is just like a piece of art. It's something different, and it's something that you won't find in your high street or that you won't find everywhere. So there's that kind of unique aspect to it. So you've done a really good job kind of with the thought process behind it, I think.
Yeah, oh, thank you very much. Our makers will be delighted to hear that. So Susan, I'll come to you with the next topic of discussion. So traditionally, we've kind of answered this, but maybe you want to give more detail in it maybe. Traditionally, ceramic designs would be placed in more rustic, old-fashioned interiors. How can they be included in more modern spaces?
Yeah, I think with interiors, what we're always trying to do as stylists, and I think we're all stylists in our homes on here tonight, but it's to add layers, add textures, add interesting objects. So you don't always need a lot. You know, you can see it's a little trio of things there, but they all have interesting shape, interesting texture. And that's what I'm always looking for, these kind of sculptural forms and interesting textures. And I think that, you know, this range really demonstrates that. It's a type of thing that you could give as a gift, and you know that it can fit quite comfortably in somebody's house as well. So I think, you know, it's one of those pieces that could be a statement piece, but it could relax into an area as well. You know, it doesn't have to shout too loud. I don't think this shouts too loud, for example, but yet, you know, Darren's piece is a little bit more of a statement piece that is kind of grounding his vignette there behind him.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. So then we move on to the next question. So we are on the right side of what has been quite an isolated and remote time, how has technology and online trade proved to be important, and how has it worked to your advantage over this whole lockdown and everything? So Darren, would you like to take the lead on this question?
Yeah, I think, well, I think first off with the lockdown, we heard a lot that people are investing, they're spending more time at home, so they were investing a lot more in their homes. I think online, I think it opened up for people to be able to access different materials. So, you know, when people were locked down, a lot of people were able to access things like paint and stuff like that. So they were renovating their homes. They were spending more time in them. I don't have a business, an online business myself, but I know that I found myself supporting a lot of the local businesses and buying within Ireland. You know, I found it a lot easier, a lot faster. So anything that I was looking for, I tried to kind of look within my radius or close to me. So I think that has helped. I think there was it demonstrated that people could react very quickly and adapt and be very agile and transfer their business, even though they weren't considering an online option. People became very adaptable very quickly, and I think that was like testament to a lot of businesses that they were able to be so agile and transfer their business online.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And it's been a great time, I think, to discover new local businesses as well. Whereas before this, a lot of our, you know, we would have just automatically Googled and found something. But I think a lot of people have been discovering places that are like a lot closer to them, which I think is lovely. Susan, would you agree with that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, in terms of our business, you know, it's kind of made things a little bit more efficient that you can reduce your carbon footprint, so to speak, by not moving too much, you know. So very often we would kind of hop to site, you know, more than's actually needed. But now we're so used to speaking face to face online. It's so efficient. You can have back-to-back meetings. You're not spending half your day traveling. I think there's a lot of positives, you know. Now, I think it would be nice to have a little bit more of a balance, and we're getting that back now. But it's certainly, I think, opened people's eyes to how efficient it can be to work in some respect from home.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Laura, I'll come to you with the next topic. So creativity is at the forefront of most innovations. However, we are largely influenced by the world around us. What inspires your own creative thinking?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm such a researcher. I will spend hours and hours on Google, on Pinterest, on just trawling through magazines. I mean, anything visual, I'm just a sucker for. So and if there's a good color combination, if there's a movie that I'm watching, so like anything Wes Anderson, I'm just like completely obsessed with, because the color palettes are amazing. So even in my wardrobe, I'll spend like hours just like creating outfits, pulling past like palettes together, and that's kind of what gets me going. So yeah, I'm inspired by kind of everything around me, to be honest. Probably much to my husband's dismay, I will literally create a mood board for my life. So yeah, I do everything I do kind of design wise. I'm always creating a mood board for. So I'm all about color, texture, print. And I suppose in my job as a fashion buyer, you know, I'm very visual, and anything aesthetics really important to me. So I suppose that's one thing that I find quite tricky in lockdown, is not having that ability to touch and feel and kind of be around product and interiors and fashion. It's been really tough. So that's, I was going back to the last question, that's one thing that I think has maybe been tough. I know there's been loads of advantages, but there's been a few things that I find really, really, I suppose, things that I've missed, I suppose, and that's really stunted my creativity. So now we're kind of allowed out and about again. I'm like free as a bird, running around, kind of taking it in. So yeah, I mean, anything kind of inspires me, and travel. I really miss travel. I need to go on a holiday and see beautiful pictures and decor and food and wine.
Yeah, we all need to see a bit of the sun.
Yeah.
And also, I couldn't agree more. Going into the a clothes shop for the first time when we were allowed was like the best thing in the world. It was like I can see clothes again. Yeah, absolutely. Susan, so what do you think inspires your creativity?
Yeah, I would agree very much with that. I mean, I could be inspired by anything. I could see an arch and that sends me down a pathway of something I think. And I'm hugely influenced by, you know, what's around me as well. I mean, I could be working on a scheme one day and I'm wearing a green top. And it does actually set me down a track. So I'm hugely influenced by the environment around me, but also I'm always influenced by the mood of a space. So I'm trying to create spaces that feel the way you want them to feel, you know. So I find that I'm you know, how I feel in a space really inspires me as well. And if I feel comfortable or relaxed or whatever in a space, I will try to analyze why I feel that way. So yeah, it's very environmental, I think.
Oh, that's so interesting. And yeah, I suppose realizing how you're feeling and trying to
Yeah.
recreate that in some sort of way. Yeah, that's so interesting. And then same question for you, Darren. Then what inspires your creativity?
Similar to the girls as well. I think, you know, there's no one thing I could point to. I am drawn all the time to old pieces. I love, you know, antique furniture. I like things with a story, you know. So I like the things that are handmade or, you know, as I said, vintage. You know, that you kind of go, I wonder where that was before it was, you know, here. And I think that it's really important to try and keep that sustainability piece factor into your home, but because it adds individuality. And I think often like that, it could be a fabric, it could be a color, a texture of something that will get me thinking, and I go, how could I use this in my space? So yeah, it's not one single thing, but it's definitely something with a story.
Yeah, well, you're definitely in the right location anyway tonight, so we have plenty of stories for you. Okay, guys, so we'll move on to the final question, which is, in the last year, we have seen a huge increase in home renovation projects with some interesting trends. What are some trends you think that should be left behind and not continued on? So, Laura, we come to you first on this one.
This is such a hard one because I don't want to offend anybody.
Don't worry about that.
The one thing that really annoys me, and it's not really a trend, but it's the whole karate chop pillows, like around.
The Marie Kondo, yeah.
Pillows be pillows.
Yeah.
Leave them be.
In fact, a lot of people,
yeah.
A lot of
So
people are getting into that lately.
Oh no, so I'm probably going to offend somebody, but there we go. I don't...
Okay, everyone has different trends that they love and hate. Darren, what's one of your trends that you think should be left behind?
It is really tough. I don't know. I suppose the home bar, you know, like that kind of, when I saw these popping up all over the country, I was, you know, going, oh God, you know, we have to go back to real bars again. But you know, kind of sheds turned into bars was kind of seemed to be a big trend. But yeah, there wasn't one kind of thing, but that was kind of like I was hoping that I wouldn't have to build my own bar at the back, that we would eventually get back to going to pubs again. So maybe the home pub was probably something we should leave behind, possibly.
Yeah, nice to go out and get your drink served to you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Makes the experience a lot better. And then Susan, same question for you. What trend should be left behind?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the word trends either. I think it's difficult to say, oh, that's a trend that should go, because I think these things like fashion tend to be cyclical, you know. And if you're using quality pieces and quality finishes, you know, the likes of marble, brass, those materials have been around for generations. Don't be afraid to use them. They may be more trendy at one time or another, but they're here to stay. You know, there's only so much material. So I never say that anything like that is a trend. And I'm also reluctant to say get rid of a trend, because as soon as you say it's out of fashion or something, I kind of immediately want to go against that and, you know, rebel to try and bring it back in. But I think in terms of what has happened during lockdown and everybody sort of DIYing at their home and all of that, it would be great if people finish the jobs they started. So I think there's a huge amount of DIY started and not finished. So if you are not going to finish a job, don't start it. Maybe that's something good that could go.
Yeah, okay, I need to take that one on board for myself. Guys, thank you so much for participating. And again, we're sorry we couldn't have you here in person. Have you guys got any questions for our makers here in Mullin, or anything you would like to discuss or see?
I'm really excited to see how the Stephen makes this lamp. This shade. I'm really curious.
Oh, yeah, we're going to go back into him now in one moment.
Oh, amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Okay, great. Do you want to? You can come on in with me.
Right, and you can start to see marble coming out in the clay. It's subtle at the moment, but once we glaze it, everything will sort of shine a wee bit more.
Yeah, very good. So then now you're going to put it onto this mold, is that
Yeah,
right?
but you can't force what way it's going to marble, but at the same time, when you get to this point, you can kind of choose where the nicest part is. And I think it's there.
The suspense.
Yeah.
I know, it's so mesmerizing to watch it being made, isn't it?
Absolutely. I love nothing more than a factory tour. I mean, any sort of production process. I
No.
just
Same, yeah.
spend the
We'll have to
day.
get you guys up here
observing.
when everything's open up a bit more.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
Now it's almost liquid at this point, so you have to kind of move quick, but you can't move too fast.
And so you just press that in your...
And that's it. It starts to take the shape of the mold on this particular piece in it.
Yeah. And then
Does
how
that
long will
piece-
that take? Sorry,
That
guys?
was- I'd say that was my question. How long does it take to dry, or how long does it take to set?
When I started here, the weather was kind of half cold and things were taking so long. And now that the weather's really warm, it's like taking maybe 1, 2, 3 days. Well, originally I'd said, oh, we're gonna have to leave it for a week, 2 weeks. But,
Yeah.
so it's going to vary, especially in Ireland. It's really going to vary. It's
Okay.
the dampness in the air as well can change it.
It must be so lovely to just work the way you work, and you know the peace you must get from actually just working with your hands and concentrating on, you know, it's almost like baking, or it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. I've had some other people in Mullin come over and they've just tried it out to experience it, and I think they all quite liked it, and it was their favourite place to work. In Mullin's, a lot of people work in different areas just to experience it, so that they know what their co-workers are doing.
That's great. It sounds like you have a great team there. Like you know, you often do Instagram lives and introducing different members of the team. I find that really interesting, and I love that you show the different elements of production, and it's very interesting content.
Yeah, Mike's very ambitious. He's definitely going to bring more creativity and maybe more art to the whole process.
Yeah, great.
Thanks, guys. So we'll leave Stephen for a moment and we'll go in and answer some of the questions from the followers. So one of the first questions is for Laura. So you're quite brave in your home interior. Have you any tips on helping people introduce colour into their home?
Oh, so first of all, don't be afraid. Colour is only colour, and you can always repaint, you can always re-wallpaper. I think people sometimes love colour, but they're just a little bit afraid to use it. And I think, you know what, just forget about it. Just lose the fear. Nothing's ever permanent, and create a mood board. Like I said earlier, if you create a mood board, it almost takes away any risk. So you can see your design, your vision before you actually do any decorating. So definitely create a mood board. Even tear little swatches out of magazines. You know, a mood board doesn't have to be completely flat. It can be really textural. I think that's kind of part of the fun as well. So yeah, create a mood board, and then kind of your design will take shape from there.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. And Darren from Tori Logan, we have in the comments, who doesn't love a home bar? So
Well, I think I rephrased that incorrectly. I should have said a home pub. I have a bar. When you're bringing the whole pub into your garden, there's a problem.
yeah, fair. And then we have one which Stephen kind of answered. How long does it take to make one lamp? So Wendy, maybe you want to jump in and just answer this one, kind of give an overall view on how long it takes.
Every lamp's really quite different. So some of the smaller pieces, you would maybe mold the product in an hour, and then the drying process varies as well, as Stephen explained. And each piece is then fired twice. So we've got the bit firing, and then that's followed by the glaze or the oxide firing as well. So it can really drag out over a week or 2 weeks, depending on the drying time and the size of the piece.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. And then I have a question for a designer. So Mike, I'm going to get you to answer this question.
Okay.
How do you incorporate brass and ceramics together in interiors?
In interiors,
Mm-hmm.
that's the interior designers.
Yeah.
No, we do a lot of work. Obviously, we're doing projects all the time, bars and restaurants and hotels, and we see how the contrast and materials work well together. So we know that the black and the brass works well together, and you can see that in some of our lighting products. We've transferred that to our ceramics as well, and created that contrast as well. So we know it works together. We're starting to combine with our new marble effect. We know that marble is something that's seen all over the place, bar counters, kitchen counters, things like that there. And we wanted to reflect on that. And then we play it on the contrast between the black and the white marble. Always works well together. So we design products knowing what really works within an interior and what interior designers are after, because we're working with them day in, day out all the time. So
Yeah. And Susan, we'll ask you the same question as well to get the perspective from an interior designer. So how would you incorporate brass and ceramics together in interiors?
Yeah, I think it's about finding the right volume of where you want to use it as well. You know, brass, there's different types of brass. Obviously, you can have satin brass and polished brass. You have a lovely antique brass that you use as well. So sometimes the right brass is for the right project. If you're using a lot of darker colors in a scheme, it could be nice to use a bright brass and it's really offset against the dark. If you're using lighter colors, it can be nicer to go in a little bit more of an antique route. In the tone of the brass. So it is nice to kind of combine them with the color scheme that you're using. I totally agree with what Laura says about not being afraid to use color as well. I think a lot of it is paint based and you don't really have to kind of venture too far. But then, you know, using the ceramics, I think is great as well, because, you know, you've introduced quite a lot of color in the range as well. And that can be standalone in itself too. So you can have a very neutral environment and, you know, introduce color in the objets that you have, like I have behind me here.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different styles and colors that you can use, and it can be very adaptable. Yeah, definitely agree with that. And then Darren, we have the final question for you. Have you got any hints and tips for getting started with a renovation plan?
Don't do it. I'm joking.
Okay, for somebody who really, really wants to do it.
I think, yeah, I mean, I suppose look at your budget, you know, figure out kind of how much you have to spend and what you can do within that, so that kind of manages your expectations from the start. If there's things you really want, you know, I would say, you know, kind of stick to your guns and hold out till you get a quality finish there. And you know, I did a house previous to this, and you know, I rushed into it and I just wanted to get it done really quickly, and we ended up making some bad decisions. So, you know, take time, plan, get a good builder on board, you know, and really just, you know, take your time. I think people are in such a rush to try and get their projects finished and over the line. I mean, I know I've been, like, you know, following a lot of what Susan does and work, and it's, you know, it's that time that you take to make those considered decisions for your home. You know, you're going to be living with them for a very long time. So that's what I would just say. And, you know, don't be afraid. You know, I think we were very...
I think a lot of people feel pressure to have their homes you know, perfect, and nobody's home is insta perfect. I think that it's iterative, and it will always be iterative, and, you know, concentrate on areas and even break it down to corners if you want, you know, and work through your home that way. Don't feel pressure, especially if you've just moved or you're just renovating, to to have a perfect place. And often I show pieces of my house that are far from perfect, and people will email me saying thanks for showing that. And I forget that a lot of the time you're only showing the perfect stuff, you're not showing the less than perfect stuff. And it is also important to know that that's not reality. What did those 12 pictures on the grid or what's happening in that moment. So don't feel too much pressure to have your home perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. I know sometimes you forget that Insta isn't reality.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining the live again tonight. So we're going to say goodbye to you now. So thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon. And hopefully we'll get you up when things open up a bit more.
Fingers crossed.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks very much.
Enjoy your product.
Bye.
Thank you. See you, girls.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Now, guys, so to finish off the evening, we are going to go back out to Stephen to see how the light is getting on, and we will announce the winner of the competition. So, Stephen, how is the light looking now?
This is it. It's coming on now. The final process is just getting it dry, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what it's going to look like when it has been fired into the kiln and glazed.
Yeah, and then the fittings will be added.
So this is the Copac light. Amazing. So we have the winner here, and the handle of the winner is at Sam Villa LMS. So congratulations on winning the light, and we will be in touch to get your details and get this light sent out to you. Not this one, but the one that Stephen is currently making, and that light is all yours. So I'm going to hand you back over to Adele to close out the evening. Thank you all very much for joining.
Hi everyone, so well done to Sam Villa LMS on guessing the right number of tiles on the wall. What you didn't notice off camera is that one actually nearly fell off, so that was going to be a very controversial competition. But thankfully some other tiles managed to catch it. We got it back in place, so well done Sam on getting the right number of tiles. As the guy said, Insta isn't always reality. That could have been an interesting faux pas. Look, thank you all very much for joining us this evening. We've really appreciated our followers joining us, and we really appreciate that our panelists took the time out of their evening to help us, both in terms of answering some design questions that we have, and also to help you guys with some questions that you have. I suppose something that Susan mentioned is that we do seem to have a really great team here, and it's something that we, I suppose, as part of Mullin Ceramics, but also Mullin Lighting, couldn't be more proud of what our team have produced for us. One here this evening, but this evening you got to see a couple of faces in respect to the ceramics brand, but there's a huge team behind the scenes in terms of sales and marketing who put this evening together. But there's a massive team who are absolutely fantastic in our production, in our lighting factory, who bring our standard products to you every day as well. So our ceramics are here made by the very crafted Stephen, but to make it an actual lighting piece, we have a fantastic team who work on that. And so yeah, we're very lucky to have a great team with us here in Mullin. And again, thank you to all of you for joining us. We look forward to answering any further questions that you have. We will be putting up a separate question box at the end where you can keep populating with your questions. And as the days go on, our marketing team will be really happy to answer any of those. If you have any direct questions for us, they usually direct them to whoever's most relevant in the company. So don't feel that there's any question too kind of far out off the ball. And yeah, that's it. Go off, enjoy the rest of your evening, and we look forward to bringing you to Mullin for future events down the line.